Hi, everyone. Welcome to Shimmer Girl Talks Off Topic Tuesday. Can Black people have the American dream? Does the American dream still exist? Now, when I think the American dream, I think like 1950s, which of course that was not really for Black people in a sense, not the way that it was for white people. When you watch old TV shows, you watch the 1950s white couple pulling up to their shiny new house in their shiny new car with their two kids and their dog Spot jumping out the car and whatever. But I do think that Black people can have the American dream, but at the same time it has to come with sacrifices and certain life choices, particularly being in a nuclear family, bringing the nuclear family back. I believe that the American dream is possible even for Black people. I think that it is very dangerous for, and I follow some of the content creators. I'm not going to, name them, but a lot of them seem to have like a defeatist victimology, even though they talk about uplifting the Black community and all of that stuff. But some of the things that they say is steeped in victimology. I can't move forward because, et cetera, et cetera. This is not about me saying racism doesn't exist, because it does exist. It's subtle and it's also obvious. So it does exist. But when I think of my grandparents, for example, grandpa would have been 105 years old this year, grandma would have been 100, and they were married for about 67 years before she died. She died first in 2010. Grandpa died in 2015. And they had 12 children. Well, they had 15 children. 13, two were stillborns, so they were 13, and then one died as a baby. And so they had 12 children that grandpa took care of by himself with his one income. He worked at Ford for over 30 years, and he took care of grandma and their 12 children and bought a house. They seemed like grandpa had a brand new car every year. There was always like food in the house, always money, all kinds of stuff. So these are people, my grandparents, who grew up in Jim Crow South. My grandfather had a brother killed in the 1940s by the Ku Klux Klan. According to my grandpa, blew his head clean off, is what my grandfather said. They went through some horrific stuff, my grandparents, and they still managed to etch out a good living, a good life, raising productive, hardworking children in any way. I think that, and I'm going to go off on a quick tangent, and it's going to be triggering for some. We have too many excuses in our community today. For my grandparents who have grew up in Jim Crow South, and I never got the chance to ask my grandfather, I never thought about it back then, but I'm sure he probably saw lynched bodies back then. And I can't even bear to look at the pictures of that. I don't look for those pictures. I don't look at them. But, I had a Facebook friend. She was a friend. She was a sister of a friend of mine. And every Juneteenth, every June, she would post the most horrific pictures of lynched Black men. And I had to put her on block, because I'm like, you might get off by looking at those pictures, but I don't. I know that horrific things happened to my ancestors and some of my relatives back in the day. Like I said, my grandfather, I had a great uncle that was killed by the Klan in the 40s. And So this video is about, can Black people still achieve the American dream even in this country? And my answer is yes. And I also know that just by me saying something like that is triggering, because we have been so thoroughly, I want to say brainwashed, that we are just perpetual victims. And I have a short coming up about what Joy Behar said about Tim Scott. She is a rich white woman telling a Black man that he doesn't know what it's like to be Black. Are you kidding me? And we as a community, so many in our community allows women like her to speak on your behalf. And then you wonder why you can't go forward. We can move forward if we got out of our minds. That's the problem. I don't care if this triggers anybody, because I'm so sick of trying to be nicety nice, and I still get told off in some of the comment sections. So people want to say, well, not talk about me like, your tone or whatever. And I'm like, it's not the tone, it's what you're saying. If people don't like what you're saying, it doesn't matter how pretty you make it and put a bow on it and put some glitter and some confetti on it. Our community does not like to be told that we're not victims. Don't care who gets offended. I said what I said. If we can get out of our mind and stop thinking like, oh, I can't do anything because I'm Black and the man is keeping me down and blah, blah, blah. Never mind the fact that you're a man and you've impregnated 5 different women. Okay, that's not going to give you the American dream that you're looking for. You're a woman. You have 5 kids by 5 different men. That's not going to give you the American dream that you're looking for. The American dream that you can achieve is by one man, one woman, getting married. Y'all don't have children already, and you have your kids, and you grow from there. You work hard. You buy a house when you can. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. I'm not telling anybody how to spend your money. Spend your money however you want. But I'm just saying, the American dream, I do believe that it is achievable by changing the mindset. We don't want to talk about what the nuclear family can do for our community. This is a problem that I have. Particularly, I'm not going to call out the political party, but y'all ought to know who I'm talking about. They don't promote the nuclear family. They don't promote a husband and a wife raising their children together. That, I think across the board, the American dream, people regardless of race and color are trying to achieve it. It's just that it seems to elude us the most, because we're trapped in this, I can't move forward because I'm Black. The man, and let me tell you, I've been in this country my whole life. My mama was raised here, born here, raised here. My grandparents, my great-grands, my great-great-grands. I know all about racism. I have been called the N-word. I have dealt with racism. I sometimes wonder if my baby, if the doctors let my baby die because she was Black. I do wonder about that sometimes, but that's another topic. I've been through racism. And as I said, my grandparents definitely went through racism. My grandmother told me years ago, because my grandmother always had like this air of like sophistication about herself, and I don't want to say that she was it's a word that I want to use, but she always had this air of sophistication, and it's a word that I want to use. But let me just say what she told me. She said that she was walking down the street one day, and this was probably the 30s, maybe the very early, no, it was definitely the 30s somewhere. And she said that her mother or somebody said, Gail, you better something, she said, because oh, those white folks would kill you or hurt you or something. You being uppity. You know, she was considered an uppity black woman, a black girl back then. And her family, probably her mother, warned her about being an uppity black girl because she wasn't a woman yet. I don't think she was 20 years old yet. So my grandparents, like I said, they went through some hellish racism in Jim Crow South Alabama, and they still managed to have the American dream. Going to grandma's house back in the 1970s, I mean, I was a kid obviously, but I just remember like this endless supply of food, and you know, it was a lot of stuff that my family didn't have because at that point my mother had left my stepfather, so you know, she was a single mother. So it was a lot of stuff that we didn't have. So it was always a treat to be able to come to grandma's house because grandma had everything, you know. And so my point is, this was back then, back in the 70s. Now, how was it that things were so much worse back then, but black people still managed to, you know, have like a pretty productive, decent life, house, car, little money in the bank, stuff like that. And here we are in 2023, and we still have this, I can't because I'm black and I'm downtrodden and I'm a victim and the man is keeping me down and all of that stuff. We need to get out of that mindset. And I know that this video is probably not going to go too far or go over well, but you know, it is what it is. So that's why I have my Off Topic Tuesday. So I hope you made it this far. Check out my other videos, subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.